The Gravity Titan LED light bar is the next revolution in off-road lighting. This thing is the combination of iconic design paired with some really crazy, innovative, high-end performance. So in this video, we're gonna do a full overview and unboxing experience. We're gonna start off by talking about the high level, the features, the benefits, what makes this thing unique and different from all the other lights in the Gravity family here at KC. And then we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty specs, followed by a full unboxing experience so that you can see everything that's included in the box of the Titan LED light bar. Finally, we're gonna show off some beam pattern footage so you can see what these things look like. So with that, I'm Taylor with KC. Let's get into it. The Gravity Titan LED light bars are available in sizes from 3 lights all the way up to 9 lights, which is 57 inches. The most popular is gonna be our 8 light or the 50-inch version of the light bar. And of course, this one right here in front of me is the 6 light version, but it doesn't matter which one you're looking at, they're all gonna feature powerful and precise output. That's all thanks to the gravity reflective diode technology that's housed on the all-new Titan core. The GRD tech basically takes our LEDs and it aims it backwards for a brighter, more controlled, and more efficient output of the light itself. The new GRD core in this one on that Titan core, that features 3 LEDs per optic. That's evolved from the 2 LEDs on the Pro 6 models. So what that allows us is again, it's a bigger illumination zone. So it's not only more full light, but better peak intensity within that as well. So that's the huge feature of the Titan light bar itself, is that new Titan core with the GRD technology. Now, of course, that GRD technology and the Titan core, it also gave us a little bit more space. So the cool thing that this thing has up its sleeve, the little trick, is that it has an amber dust light mode as well. So it's got dual power modes. One is the high power white output. The second is that amber mode. So the amber mode's a little bit more than a backlight. Like I mentioned, we're kind of calling it a forward facing dust light. It's really good for those to be able to see you when you're coming down the trail at night or even during the day. So those are 2 of the big features, is that new Titan core inside with a lot more output to it and that amber mode as well. But there's a couple other new features that we wanted to highlight. The first of which is the all new panel mount connector on the back of every single one of these optics here. That panel mount connector uses moisture block technology, so that ensures a really sturdy electrical connection at each one of these points where the plug directly plugs into the light itself, but it also makes sure that all the water, the dust, the snow, any of that stuff stays out when it's not supposed to be in there. So those are some of the new big changes of the Titan light bar, and that's what makes it new and exciting. Of course, this stayed true to its gravity roots. So there are a few things that we kept that everybody loved. We kept the ability for these to be linked together. So each one has its own individual linker point. And at that linker point, it's also adjustable. So you can choose to run this either in a straight or a curved configuration at each one of those individual points. So you can have this fully curved, fully straight, or kind of any combination in the middle of that. That's one of those big features from the Pro 6 light bar that carried into the Titan that everybody loves. So we wanted to keep that. Another big feature of the Gravity light bar is that it's got a bunch of different accessories for it. So it actually uses the same skeleton, the front ring and the back ring, as the Pro 6 light bar. So all of the accessories from the Pro 6s, like the covers, the shields, those all can be used perfectly on the Titan light bar as well. So with that being said, that's all the big features of the new Titan light bar. Next up, let's get into the nitty-gritty specs of it. All right, next up, before I read off the specs for these light bars, it's important to note that although I have the 6 light in front of me, I'm gonna be reading off the specs for the 8 light or the 50-inch. As I mentioned earlier, that's the most popular version, so I think that's gonna be the one that most people care about. But we're gonna link to the product page on our website where you can find all the specs depending on which of the different light bars that you're looking at. It's just gonna be too much to put them all on screen. It's a bunch of different numbers. So yeah, so we're gonna keep this one pretty simple. So as I mentioned earlier in the features section, this thing has 2 different power modes. So the first mode is that amber forward-facing dust light mode. And so the power draw number for that is 89.6 watts for, again, the 8 light bar, the 50-inch light bar, and that's at 7.5 amps. Then you flip the switch the other direction, you turn on that high power mode for the 8 light, that's gonna draw 315.8 watts at 26.3 amps. Then of course the number that everybody's always looking to know is the lumen rating. So for the big 50-inch light bar, we have a lumen rating of 23,776 lumens. At KC, if you guys have watched our videos before, you already know that we like to present more numbers than just those. We also really firmly believe in the value of you all knowing about the candela, the lux, and the beam distance numbers as well. So the 50-inch light bar has 1,020,500 candela. So that's an awesome ton of really nice peak brightness figures that's gonna throw light out really far downrange. That equates to a lux value of 10,205 and a beam distance, which we're measuring at 1 lux, of 1,010 meters. Again, these are all for that 50-inch light bar, so a lot of really cool specs. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the unboxing section of the video. All right, next up, let's get into the fun stuff and open up a box of a Gravity Titan LED light bar. Inside of here is our 6-light light bar. So let's go ahead and pop it open and see what's inside. As you can see, we did a lot of information on the inside of the text or on the inside of the box itself. So there's a little bit of information here, like we already covered, on what the gravity reflective diode actually is. But then we also put the instructions right on the box of how to change the configuration of your light bar itself to go from the straight configuration to a curved configuration. So that's what that is. Get the tools out of the way. And then there's gonna be a bunch of little boxes. It should be labeled if there is hardware or wiring harnesses or things like that, that's included. So you can pop those open. And inside of there is the entire wiring harness. So this wiring harness comes with pretty much everything that you need to get going. So it's got the switch, the relay, the fuse, all that good stuff inside of here. Then the other thing that's also included in the box of the wiring harness is the bump stop itself. So the bump stop you have to install onto the light bar. We'll walk you through that, and that's what provides tension on the whole system to make sure that it stays super nice and level downrange rather than bumping and rattling around on the windshield of your vehicle or anything like that. So inside one of these boxes, that's where the wiring harness is. And then the really fun stuff is the light bar itself. So nice and protected. It comes pre-assembled, so everything's already linked together. It comes with your covers already installed on it. We can probably go ahead and slide this out of the plastic. So as I mentioned, it comes with the covers already on it. Might be able to get it from this side, but you can go ahead and flip it around and you can also see that. On the back, the linker harness that connects each light to one another is already installed on it. And then on each end of that harness is a plug. So this allows you to, despite it doesn't really matter which side of the vehicle your battery is located on, this allows you to run the wiring harness up either the driver or the passenger side of your vehicle. Just to make it easy, you're just gonna take the dummy plug off and plug it into the other end. Then you can zip tie it up nice and clean. So inside of the box of Gravity Titan, that's everything. It's gonna be your light bar, all the covers, and the whole wiring kit. All right, before we get into the beam pattern footage, let's take just a quick minute to look at all of the different accessories that are available for the Titan LED light bar. Now, the first two I would consider essential. They're really nice accessories. The first is the universal wire hider. This is perfect, especially for overhead applications for your light bar. So if you're mounting this above your windshield, what this does is it takes the included wiring harness, and when you run that up the outside of your windshield, it gives it a nice little rubber channel to hide in. It also is how you can secure it to the windshield, but it makes it look really clean, OEM look, and it just kind of finishes that installation. So wire hider is an awesome one. This is 3 meters long, so you have plenty almost to do 2 windshields if you got like a JL or something like that. If you've got a Raptor, you'll have more than enough for that as well. So wire hider is the first one. Next up is the light locks for it. For all of the Titan light bars, you're gonna wanna use the 7222 SKU, which is also the M8. These replace the nuts that are on the end of the end mounts with a nice security nut, and it includes the key, so that way only you have the ability to take on and off your light bar. Just a little bit of extra safeguard against theft protection, things like that. If somebody really wants it with an angle grinder, they're gonna chop up the brackets and anything anyway, but either way, it's just a little bit of a theft deterrent. Moving gears, we have a couple of different accessories in the form of shields and covers for it. So the first one up is the clear shield. This snaps right onto the face of your Titan light bar, and this adds just a lot of added protection and durability for your light. So if you're getting this thing sandblasted, or if you're in a lot of snowy conditions where there's rust and just road grime, or not rust, but salt, road grime, all that kind of stuff being kicked up, these are really nice. It keeps all of that maximum visibility with the clear, but just adds some protection. Next up, same type of thing, it's transparent, so light passes through it, is our amber shield. This now changes the color of the output of your light, especially on the high mode, to be all amber. So this is great, especially if you have it mounted down low, for added visibility or increased visibility in the dust, the snow, the fog, things like that. That makes it really usable, kind of reduces the glare, so to speak, that reflects back into your eyes from anything that's airborne particles. So amber shield, you can use this with the high power mode. You can also use it with that amber dust light mode. It's gonna be more apparent, obviously, with the high power mode. Lastly, if you kind of want just some old school look to your Titan light bar, we have the smiley face covers that just snap right onto the face of this as well. Purely aesthetic. It does protect your light bar if you're, obviously if you have these installed on it. And in some states, they do require your off-road lights to be covered. So this is a good way to do that if you like the old school smiley face. So that's a good look at all the different accessories that we have for the Titan light bar. Next up, let's get into the beam pattern footage. All right, next up, let's talk about the beam pattern footage. So before we get into the footage itself, it's important to know that all of the Titan light bars are pre-assembled in our combo beam pattern. Basically what that means is the center lights are gonna be a spot beam, and the outer lights are gonna be a wide 40 beam. The combination of all of that into one light bar is the combo beam. What that achieves, as we're gonna look at in the footage here in a second, is a really nice combination of long distance lighting paired with some horizontal coverage for really nice wide and vertically filled output of the Titan light bar. Okay, next up, switching gears, is the overhead application for the Titan light bar. This is gonna be installed on Jacob's Lexus GX. So this is gonna be an 8-light light bar. And with that, that's pretty much everything that you need to know about the Titan LED light bars. If you were looking for more information, maybe about the single lights and the unboxing for that, or anything else Titan related, we actually have a full playlist here on YouTube dedicated to all that stuff. So you'll find the link to that down in the description below. While you're there, if you're also interested in getting one of the Titan light bars for your vehicle, we have a link right to our website where you can find it and snag it for yourself. If you have any questions about the Titan light bars, please leave us a comment in the comment section below, and we'll be happy to get back to you. Hopefully this was educational. Hopefully it was informational for you guys. Thank you all for tuning in, and remember to adventure further.